Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host, Charles. Along with me, as always, my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, gunner, navigator, orator, and podcasting associate, Jacob Gloth. How you doing today, Jacob?
I am swell, Charles. I'm excited, but also not at all, because I've got a pitch this week, and you gave me a title that was a little difficult, but I think I figured it out. I think I got it.
Yeah, I think it's one of my favorite titles that I had written down. I was almost debating not giving it to you.
Oh.
Because I like it so much.
Ooh, I didn't know that. Interesting.
So,
I was thinking the same thing for the episode last week, the Operatic Soul Destroyer.
The Operatic Soul Destroyer.
Mm-hmm. Which, and
I'm sure
I don't know if you saw the shorts that came out today for the Operatic Soul Destroyer. We're recording on the day that the episode of last week came out.
On the day, yeah.
But
I was at an afternoon tea.
It's exciting. I used some old film footage in it. So
now I'm gonna pull it up. All right, we're going on TikTok, everyone.
I mean, we could watch it later because who wants to listen to you watch a short that came out last week? Anyway. I've got a show this week. It's called The Kingdom of Dirty Needles. You gave me the title last week, obviously. What was the idea you had for The Kingdom of Dirty Needles? Because you said last week that you always have an idea when you give me these titles.
Yeah. I was thinking about it, honestly, today. I was like, what was my idea when I wrote that down? And I think it was something along the lines of a degenerate drug addict, like, slowly trying to work themselves up the criminal underworld, you know? Uh-huh. Sort of half Goodfellas, half, like, Train Spotting, you know? So this criminal working their way up the criminal underworld while also maintaining their, severe drug addiction, right? And just the perils that come from both of these life choices that they've made and trying to hide it from their fellow, criminals who will use that information against them and all this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So it was like and it wasn't gonna have a happy ending because it never has a happy ending. But something like that.
Finally reaches the top, and then that's when he overdoses and dies.
Exactly. He would OD in his, beautiful, penthouse apartment, staring out at the city right after his, gorgeous wife, who's been with him from the very beginning, has, like, walked out on him, And that's how that show would end.
Mm-hmm. So, that's not what I got. I have a superhero show.
Nice! See, this is what I like about this, is we're just doing stuff that's totally not related to each other's ideas.
When I heard Kingdom of Dirty Needles, I was like, okay, so it's got to be like, somebody has built up a lot of strength with maybe drugs behind them. First I was thinking like drugs as like what gives you superpowers, but that's not where I went ultimately. So it's modern superheroes, sort of a parody of Justice League or Avengers, whatever the big superhero
Invincible groups. X-Men, whatever. You pick one.
Set in modern times, it's set in the city of Cincinnati. I was like, what is the lamest city, but still a city that I could put this in? And I like Cincinnati.
Have you ever been to Cincinnati?
Yeah, my friend went to college there. I think it's lame.
I almost went to college there. I like Cincinnati. I think it's a good city.
I think it's a mediocre city in the middle of the country, and that's why I picked it. If you're from Cincinnati and you're listening to this, I've been there. It's okay. I'm not saying it's shit, but it's just like a city. If I was trying to make a generic city, I would probably accidentally make Cincinnati.
Fair enough. And if you're from there, go fuck yourself.
So who are we following, right. Charlie? That is the question.
I don't know. Tell me.
Well, our big Superman-esque person is Tomorrow Man, or his Clark Kent version is Richard Wendt, W-H-E-N-T. So Tomorrow Man is the superhero. Richard Wendt is his alter ego.
Because Wendt is in the past tense.
Well,
and he's Tomorrow Man when he's in his superhero persona, so his alter ego is in the past. Oh, see, you're very clever like that.
I didn't think of that. The reason I did it is we'll get to it in a second, clever. Which is a crude joke. So Superman by day, rockstar druggie by night. like picture like Mick Jagger,
Nice.
essentially. Very
Yes.
into
Oh my god, yes.
like a super
Alright.
version of heroin. And he seemingly has every superpower. Like any situation that comes up, he has the power. He has like ice breath, laser breath. He seemingly has everything. So of course we have Tomorrow Man. He's got to have a sidekick, and that is Tomorrow Boy, his son, whose name is Richard Went as well, but everyone calls him Dick Went.
Dick Went.
Yes. So Dick is his nickname.
It's pretty good.
Very common nickname. Not really. I don't really meet a lot of Richards that go as Dick anymore. I don't know what that is. More of a
that
50s
seems like
thing, I
something
guess.
you do in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, but not anymore.
So Tomorrow Man, he's the big druggy rock star Superman. You know, everyone loves him kind of guy. Tomorrow Boy is very tired, worn out son of Tomorrow Man. He does his best to keep everything together, but no one has any respect for him and ignores most of what he says. And everyone makes constant jokes about how when he was a kid, he used to wear tight spandex underwear, like Robin. Well, like, you know, the kind that, like,
Of course.
you know, you could see, like, his whole, like, legs, and he's, like, this, you know, 14-year-old kid. You're like, what is this? Why is his costume
What are you
like
doing?
this? He has all the superpowers of his dad, but doesn't know how to use most of them. So he has, like, the ice breath and the laser vision. But I was thinking, like, essentially, like, you know, he feels like a human, right? And you don't know what that muscle is that you're supposed to flex that shoots the laser, you know? Like, if I was to tell you, Charlie, right now, shoot, like, you have laser vision, you just don't know how to use it, you would, like, you know, be flexing every little eye muscle and everything to try to figure out where it is, whether you're supposed to move.
I reckon I could figure it out. I'm pretty crafty like that.
Essentially, it's like that. Like, he doesn't know. He knows how to fly, and he knows super strength, because those are, like, flying, it took him a while to figure out, and super strength is just sort of like, I mean, obviously he is, you know, you just grab something.
It's his normal strength.
Squeeze or something. You just punch, and it's super strength. Flying, that took him a while to figure out, but everything else he doesn't really know, and he'll accidentally use it every once in a while. Then we have
To save the day.
we have the Quick, or Larry Quest, whose name so Larry Quest is his name. The Quick is his superhero name, but his superhero name is going to very quickly change to Nesquik, like the chocolate milk, which we will get into. He's Wally West-ish.
Alright.
So he's got super
So
speed.
he's like a jokester.
Yeah. So he's, you know, he's kind of a funny guy. He loves the fame of being, you know, a superhero. He's also a track star, so he's obviously cheating a little bit because he's got super speed. He enjoys the money. He's not the brightest bulb, but he's pretty lovable, and he has a mild cocaine problem. So, a lot to Nesquik.
Okay. Well, you know what? Why doesn't he do speed? That should be his
We'll get
fucking
into that
choice.
in a second. He might have a supervillain that does speed. So next we have Dynamo. Her name is Delilah Galanus. She's a super strong acrobat who fell in a vat of acid during her performance. She came out with superpowers, and she wears a full bodysuit to hide her disfigured form. We'll get into it later, but she's actually incredibly beautiful under the bodysuit, but she has a part of the body, the side effect of the acid is that she has severe body dysmorphia. So she thinks, like, she'll look in a mirror and she'll see this like burned, terrible looking face, but everyone just sees like a supermodel, and they're like, I don't understand why she wears like this, you know,
She hides her
complete
body
bodysuit
like
to
that.
hide herself. You know, like she's always has like big clothing on and everything, but she obviously doesn't need it. Pluton. Pluton is a shape-shifting superhero from Pluto. He's not actually from Pluto, though. He's from Neptune, but is too far along at this point to correct anyone. You know, he made a mistake, said he was from Pluto. Everyone thinks he's from Pluto. Realized it was Neptune. Like, you know, that's what they call Neptune in their language. It's like, oh, shit. Well, you know, it's too late now. Everyone calls me Pluton.
Right.
I'm just sticking with it. He came from an egg on that planet, so it's not like Neptune has people. He was just an egg on that planet, and then he woke up. Like, you know, he hatched from the egg, and he's just alone. And he has superpowers,
on
and
Neptune.
so he just sort of like, you know, he grew up on the planet alone, and, you know, finding food where he could and such. And then he, like, you know, he started flying around the solar system, and eventually he found Earth and was like, holy shit, there's other people that exist. Like, it's not just me on, like, you know, this empty void
on
of
this
space.
fucking rock in the middle of nowhere. jerking off by myself because there's nothing else to do.
So they call him Porcupine in his as like a nickname as well, like his teammates, because he takes a huge amount of drugs, and that is because shapeshifting, which is his main power, is incredibly painful. So he has to take a ridiculous amount of painkillers just to be able to like actually use his powers.
I like that nickname, by the way. I think that's clever.
Porcupine? Or Pluton?
Yeah, Porcupine for a guy who's injecting himself with needles all the time. I think that's clever.
Well, because you'll see him. He is just covered in them. And he's not like, he's not going to overdose because he's, a super,
alien man.
Yeah. But he needs it to just, like, calm down the immense pain that is his bones, like, shifting around and cracking and reforming. Then we have the Quiver, whose name is Hector Prios. He's a super accurate, like, sort of, Hawkeye-esque person, but it's unsure if he has, like, a super accurate power or if it's just skill. Like, he is,
he's just
deadly accurate from extreme distances that are completely unrealistic. But he's, it's unclear if it's exactly a superpower or if he's just really, really good. He's super rich, but he's very bleak and pessimistic. He knows a lot about everything. But he's, the reason that he knows a lot about everything and he's super rich is because he's secretly immortal and was a Trojan soldier who watched his city burn. So he's from Troy originally. And he's just
so he does have a superpower, but it's not super accuracy.
We don't know if he also has super accuracy, but he is a Trojan.
Okay.
It might just be that he's just like a Greek hero, like Achilles, who
that would be cool. I would like that a lot.
But you don't really sure as the viewer. Like you're like, I don't really know. Is he just is he superpower? Is he like kind of a goddish? Like I don't know. He's a part-timer with the team. And he's a very serious person, but also very uncaring. So he's not like, he's a superhero, but he's not like the kind of superhero that
he doesn't care.
Walk an old lady across the street or like sit down to comfort a little girl whose parents died. He's like, I saved you. I'm gonna drop you off with the authorities.
See ya.
He's a little
exactly.
He's not like mean, but he's like he just doesn't. He doesn't have it emotionally in him to help people.
Yeah.
Then we have Commissioner Gorge. I saved your life. Commissioner Gorge is the police commissioner. He's a bit of a drug addict, and he's constantly asking for favors. So he'll ask like Nesquik, the speedster, to like, all right, I need you to go into my office real quick and clear out the filing cabinet on the left side of my desk as soon, like, just do that right now. Like, there's like, police, internal affairs people coming into his office, and he needs Nesquik to like quickly go in there and, burn some documents and maybe get rid of some drugs that he has in his desk. And
then Nesquik inevitably takes all of the drugs to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And
this is the only way I can make them disappear.
Exactly. I mean, that's a fucking episode idea right there. That's a B story right there. Commissioner Gorge trying to keep Nesquik from, like, outing himself and the commissioner to the police and internal affairs. Right there. Yeah. Boom. B story. Tomorrow Man tries to teach his kid how to throw baseball without
might be some
putting
issues
it through
with Tomorrow Man. We'll get into that in the first episode. Valerie Van is the lawyer for the Heroes of Tomorrow. That's their superhero group name. She's in charge of avoiding copyright issues. Very stressed all the time. Hates all the heroes, and she's doing her best to keep them legally okay. So copyright issues are a big problem, and also the legality of being a superhero is super on the line. So she's doing everything she can to make sure they're not getting thrown in jail. Two characters left, and then we're going into the villains. We have BB Jones. BB Jones is the angry head of the Daily Gazette Weekly, which is where Dick Went, Tomorrow Boy, works. He hates Tomorrow Boy, BB Jones. He hates Tomorrow Boy, loves Tomorrow Man, and loves Dick Went. So he likes all the superheroes except for Tomorrow Boy, thinks he's a loser and useless and nothing like his dad, but he likes Tomorrow Boy's alter ego who works at the paper.
Yeah, and probably hates his dad because, I'm imagining this guy is, BB... What was his name? BB
Jones.
BB
Jones.
BB Jones, right? He's probably a hard-nosed dude, and, he sees this hard party in Rockstar, and he's like, this guy's pathetic, nothing like Tomorrow Man.
Yeah, it's completely, like, swapped on either one. Last character is Cara Vane. She's essentially Lois Lane. She's an investigative journalist on the Vice beat, so she hates drugs and is known for exposing high-profile superheroes and elected leaders. A little side fact about her is that she needs glasses but doesn't wear them, which is important to her association with Tomorrow Boy, because they're like sort of partners. So she has obviously, this is like the Lois Lane
sense.
not realizing Clark Kent is Superman, except she has a reason, which is she needs glasses but refuses to wear them.
Yeah.
Maybe like she has like a backup pair of glasses, but they always break. Like it's just it's like a Velma situation, but it's not like terrible vision. It's just like people's faces are a little blurry to her, unless she's very close.
Yeah, she's farsighted. She needs glasses to see things up close, right? And she always keeps her extra pair of glasses in her back pocket, and she always forgets about them, sits down, smashes them at the beginning of every episode.
Every episode. Now, I know that was a lot of characters, but I've got even more because we've got the villains here.
Oh, lay them on me.
Now, this one has a lot of names. His name is either The Day After Tomorrow, Dr. Tomorrow, Next Week, Future Man, or Dirk. So, he's the ultimate enemy of Tomorrow Man. He's the Lex Luthor kind of, but he's not like Lex Luthor. He constantly changes his name, but everyone calls him Dirk. So Dirk is the name that everyone just says, but he is constantly like, it's me, the day after tomorrow, or it's me, Dr. Tomorrow, or next week, or Future Man. So he's super smart in terms of tech, but not much more than that. So he can build like, epic robots and, murder machines. And he wants to kill Tomorrow Man. And we'll get into later, but Tomorrow Boy as well, but not immediately. So why does he want to kill Tomorrow Man? It's because when he was going to debut as a superhero, as like a techno superhero, he was going to debut as Tomorrow Man. And he did that, like, we'll have like a flashback. Like he gets on the stage, he's like fighting a supervillain, and he's like, I am Tomorrow Man. And that's when the Tomorrow Man, the Superman-esque person, shows up, punches the villain, wipes him out, and says, Tomorrow Man, that's a good name, I'll take that. I'm Tomorrow Man. And he, just steals this guy's name. And so that's why Dirk is now a supervillain who changes his name
Honestly,
all the time.
can't blame him.
Tomorrow Man.
Me, it'd be like if we went to the store together to buy microphones for this podcast, and the cashier asked us, like, what are you guys using these microphones for? Oh, we're starting the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. Oh, that's a pretty good name. And we Google it later, and he started the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. That guy would be our arch nemesis.
Mm-hmm. He's the guy that Tomorrow Man is he's the kid that says the joke you made in class a little bit louder, And everyone thinks
the
it's
worst kind of kid.
Worst kind of kid.
That was me in high school. Stole so many jokes.
I had a couple jokes stolen. I remember them still. Not by you. I just remember one for some reason when I brought that up. Phantom Runner. That is the super speedy rival of Nesquik. Phantom Runner is lactose intolerant, ironically.
He's always running to the toilet.
He's always using speed drugs to keep up with and be faster than Nesquik. So he's not naturally faster than Nesquik, but he uses drugs to make him faster. That's like his way to keep up. Then we have Archaon. Archaon is the bastard son of Achilles. He's out to kill Hector and finish off the last of the Trojans. He's also immortal, and he works in the shadows. He's kind of like Ra's al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul, however you want to pronounce it. But more brutish. So Ra's or Ra's is like a very, from Batman. He's a character from Batman who's, very in the shadows. He pops out every once in a while. He's got a secret society. Archaon is a little bit more brutal. He's more like, he's more hands-on, more cracking skulls kind of dude. He also has a secret society. But he's not as sort of civilized and refined as Ra's al Ghul. He's more.
Is his facial hair as weird and fun?
It could be. I
want
didn't
him to have
for him.
Because Ra's al Ghul has this very famous part of his design. Off his chin, he has two little stalagmites growing, off his chin. Just two little spikes of hair. I'm like, grow those out until they're like down to his fucking belly button, and then braid them together. That's his haircut.
I'm fine with that. whatever.
Yeah.
He's gonna be like full. He's normally gonna be wearing like normal clothes, but every once in a while we'll have like a serious fight between him and Hector.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, they'll be in their more like traditional Trojan and Greek, armored bronze outfits sort of things.
It would be good to see, like, in their big fight, the suit up scene, he, like, cracks open this, like, case he's had buried, deep within the earth. He cracks it open. It is Achilles, armor and weaponry.
Yeah.
Just that would be a very cool scene to have this guy just slowly putting on his dead father's weapons and armor, and then immediately realizing that it's made out of copper and bronze and it's shit. It's really, really bad. The sword bounces off of everything. It doesn't cut anything,
It's just useless.
And then he gets it remade. Absolutely
reforged,
useless.
The magic or whatever makes him invincible. I don't know. The Flying Viper is our next supervillain. We're almost done here. Don't worry. A famous and beloved acrobat / supervillain who is the adversary of Dynamo. She is incredibly beautiful and beloved by everyone and uses her charms and skills to steal. So she's kind of like Catwoman if Catwoman was a super strong acrobat person. So she's like this super big socialite that everyone loves. And the only one that seemingly knows that she's a shitty person is Dynamo. And she's constantly, Dynamo's trying to stop, the Flying Viper from stealing from, banks and, highfalutin socialites and such.
Yeah, all this stuff.
So this is where we'll get more like, sort of James Bondy stuff with the Dynamo Flying Viper battles. More acrobatics and ninja kind of situations.
Okay. And gadgets and shit like that. Ooh, I love a good gadget. You know me.
Now we have Nepton. Nepton is a real super person from Pluto and hates Pluton for lying about where he's from. And now everyone thinks that he's from Neptune and not Pluto, but he's really from Pluto. So everyone calls him Nepton, but he really should be Pluton. And he's really upset about it.
I would be too.
Yeah, I wouldn't be upset about that.
If everyone thought you were Canadian, you'd be pissed about it.
I would be so upset. I'm not Canadian. Stop saying I'm Canadian, people. I'm not.
He's not Canadian yet. The citizenship test hasn't gone through.
No, it hasn't. General Hortz is our final villainish character, though he's not really a villain.
All right.
Stern, grim. As I said, not really a villain, but is firm that the team, so that the superheroes can't leave Cincinnati. And Cincinnati, for some reason, is the only place that superheroes and villains operate. And later, we will reveal that Tomorrow Man, before he... we'll get into it. But Tomorrow Man, he kills any villains or heroes that operate outside of Cincinnati. It's strictly a tourism thing, and it's strictly a tourism and an international treaty thing. So the tourism part is like, okay, so we'll contain it to one place so that people will come here to see superheroes and such. But also, we have to keep it contained because this could be a problem for, like, the whole world. So Tomorrow Man has, like, he will fly out and he'll murder anybody that is, outside of Cincinnati that's operating as a superhero or supervillain. But he doesn't do that as, like, you see Superman fly in and kill this person. He does it in the shadows. It's sort of a secret thing. And this is because of, A, the tourism thing, and B, an international treaty that Tomorrow Man made with the U.S. government to contain, superhero activity. And now that we'll get into it, but Tomorrow Man's going to die. And a cybernetically enhanced squad of super soldiers takes over this role. And so they're like, imagine Max Tack from Cyberpunk. So it's like these Cyberpunk's a video game. So Max Tack is like this super police force that takes out, really tough people. And this is essentially what they are. Yeah. This is like the Navy SEALs of superhero fighting. Like just dudes with some crazy cybernetic enhancements, but look normal-ish normally. Like, when they're just walking around, but they've got, some extra strength. They've got crazy weapons. They would wipe the floor with basically any superhero. Pretty tough group. Let's get into episode 1 because I already spoiled it for you. Tomorrow Man's gonna die. So episode 1, Tomorrow Man introduces the new Hall of Heroes at a celebratory ceremony in the center of Cincinnati. So Tomorrow Man, the Superman-like figure, giving this very epic cliche speech. when suddenly, out of nowhere, a new supervillain appears. This is Victimizer. He appears from the ground. Imagine kind of like Doomsday from the DC Comics. He's like this horrific-looking, monstrous thing, and he hates Tomorrow Man for no reason, really. He's just a monster that hates Tomorrow Man. They get a classic superhero.
Everybody hates Tomorrow Man.
So Tomorrow Man is telling them each to, go individually. He's telling all of his superheroes, he's like, oh, Dynamo, you go first. Dynamo, the acrobat, runs in and tries to punch the monster, but just gets swept away instantly. So this is clearly a terrible strategy. The Quiver, the immortal man who shoots, he's a archer, refuses because
he's Green
he's
Arrow,
he's not
Batman.
He's not an idiot. He's not going to listen to Tomorrow Man tell him to fight this invincible supervillain alone. So while Tomorrow Man is telling them each to go in to attack together, and they're all getting, swept away. Dynamo's getting fucked up. Nesquik, the speedster, is getting messed up. Tomorrow Boy ignores his father and charges at the monster, before he's told by his father to go in. But right before Tomorrow Boy, charges in, flying with a big punch, because he's got all the same powers as his dad. He can fly, he can punch, he's basically Superman. And he flies in to punch the monster, and right before, a millimeter before his fist makes contact with it, Tomorrow Man flies in and grabs the monster and flies him up into the air and starts this epic battle. So it sort of looks to the audience that it was just this epic save by Tomorrow Man to protect his son. But Tomorrow Boy's I was just about to go in there, and now my dad just took, the glory. And he's watching, sort of rolling his eyes as his father battles it out WWE style in his overly dramatic fight that the crowd is just absolutely loving, clapping, screaming.
They're loving it.
Everyone's, enjoying this a lot. Tomorrow
I would
Boy.
love it if, what was the villain's name? Destructor? No, the villain he's fighting right now.
Oh, Victimizer.
That is a great name for a supervillain, by the way. Victimizer is, getting the crowd riled up as well, like a heel.
Yeah.
Like a good heel. He's like, oh, what? Putting his hand to his ear. Come on, you guys suck. This guy's lame. Right? And the crowd's booing him. And then, Captain Tomorrow Man comes in with, a chair. And it's one of those, crappy metal folding chairs, so it just breaks immediately. But the whole crowd loves it.
Yeah.
Shit like that. Real WWE stuff.
Mm-hmm. And that whole crazy, stupid fight's going on. Tomorrow Boy's rolling his eyes, and he's helping his other teammates because they're actually severely injured. Nesquik's leg is bent the wrong way. Dynamo is bruised and beaten. They're all kind of severely messed up here. And so he's getting them all into ambulances and everything. And while they're receiving crucial life-saving care, Tomorrow Man continues his epic fight. And the battle ends with Tomorrow Man throwing Victimizer into the sun, classic ending shenanigans, and then coming back down to finish his speech. So he delivers the final line, as he's coming down. And the crowd is cheering, and he goes to say one last little thing. So he says something, and they all cheer, and he's going to say one last thing, and he, starts to speak, and he starts twitching and stuttering, and he can't get out the words. And everyone's, kind of confused and, what he's doing. Is this part of the act? What is this? And then all of a sudden, his brain explodes all over the crowd, and everyone screams.
Hell yeah, bro. This is great. This is a great start.
Hard cut news broadcast plays while everyone speculates over what or who killed Tomorrow Man. Tomorrow Boy is extremely worried because he's my dad just exploded everywhere, and I don't know what killed him. And he gets back to the morgue room with Hector, the Quiver, the superhero that's kind of like Batman, essentially, but he's an immortal man. And Hector tells him that it wasn't a villain. And Tomorrow Boy's like, what? There wasn't, some head popper villain out there? And he's like, no, this is your father had a violent overdose from a truly vicious cocktail of drugs, which combined with a random stroke and a brain aneurysm all hit him at the same time, and his laser vision. So all these, all the drugs and the stroke and the brain aneurysm at the same time activated his laser vision in a way that popped his own head. So he killed himself.
Bad. Yeah.
Horrifically. Hector is was my dad poisoned?
I think we should make it.
Did someone put something in him to cause this to happen?
And
Hector asks if his father was poisoned, and Tomorrow Boy's like, No, the drugs, those are just things that he takes normally on like an average day. And Hector just sort of nods like, oh, yeah, okay. I know he has a drug problem. I didn't realize it was that bad. And they go to Tomorrow Man's apartment, and it's just this horrific sight of drugs and all this crap everywhere. It's a complete mess, and they have to, collect it all and burn it. And it's just like, we see this, the back of Tomorrow Boy's head as he's watching like all of his father's shit burn because he needs to hide from the world that his dad, this great superhero, was really a severe drug addict and killed himself with his own laser vision by accident.
By being a severe drug addict.
So the whole world is continuing to speculate over what killed his father, and the team, the heroes of tomorrow, are now leaderless because they're obviously Tomorrow Man is dead. And Tomorrow Boy, he's not really sure what he should do, but he just kind of continues going to his job at the Daily Gazette Weekly, where he works. And he's teamed up with his crush, the Lois Lane-like reporter, Cara Vane.
Ooh.
So he's super excited.
Is there a massive age difference? Is it like 14 and 35? Or is it like 14 and 19? And it's no.
I think you might be confused. So, Tomorrow Boy is not a child. He's like 25 or something like that. When he was a kid, he had to wear the terrible spandex. Now he has like a normal costume. And he's just sort of like a disaffected 23-year-old, 24-year-old who's, annoyed by his dad, kind of. But now his dad's dead, and he doesn't really know what to do with his life. And he's going back to his job where he's like a newish reporter at this paper. And Cara Vane, she's probably like 2-3 years older than him, but she's like the... Tomorrow Boy, Dick Went, he's like a, he went to an okay college. He went, he did all right in school. He's like a good reporter. He's not great. Cara Vane is like the Ivy League, perfect, does everything amazingly. She's, the star reporter. She's like, 2 or 3 years older than him, so she has a little bit more experience, but it's not mainly her experience that makes her better. It's just that she is better at her job. But she never has to ask for spelling. Nah, she just knows how words are spelled. No, she has an inner contract. She can't get no editors look at her stuff. She just publishes it herself.
Wow, that takes some balls, man.
So he's teamed up with Cara Vane to uncover the villain behind the murder of Tomorrow Man, and obviously Tomorrow Boy, Richard, he's very reluctant, but it's his job. He knows that he has to do this for work. It's like, it's mandated, but he knows what actually happened. There isn't a villain that killed his dad. It's his dad, popped his own head. So the team starts to go bonkers as well. This is when the Quick changes his name to Nesquik after a corporate sponsorship. Normally Tomorrow Man would have blocked this sort of thing, but he's out of the picture right now. So Nesquik now has a new name. Dynamo starts going mad with a sort of a Phantom of the Opera style circus story, because she's sort of like, she's leaderless. She doesn't really know what's going on in her group anymore, and also she was painfully ineffective in the fight, which is bothering her. And also, obviously, her severe body dysmorphia. So that's how we get the Phantom of the Opera thing. So this is where Pluton first discovers painkillers. So when he gets put in the ambulance and everything, they give him some painkillers, and he's like, "This is wonderful. You guys can get rid of pain? I was just living with severe pain all my life. This is amazing."
I love this. I'm going to have this every day forever now.
Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, that's, according to your body, results, I guess you could. You shouldn't do this, but I guess you could. You wouldn't die." This doesn't seem right.
You really shouldn't, though. It's like eating McDonald's every day. You could, but don't.
Commissioner Gorge is pressuring Tomorrow Boy to take over his father's mantle, but he's reluctant throughout the episode. He doesn't really want to take on the responsibility of his dad. His dad did so much, and it was like consuming, and he doesn't want to be like his dad. It's part of it. Huge part of it. So when he was a kid, he wanted to be just like Tomorrow Man. But as he gets older and he sees like kind of shitty his dad is, he's like, I don't want to be Tomorrow Man. I want to be myself.
Yeah. I want to be a boy forever. Tomorrow Boy.
And so this is going on the whole episode. That's kind of like the main, the main A story of this. And it's gonna climactically come together at his father's funeral. when
I was gonna
Dirk
say,
arrives.
when are we doing the
Doctor Tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow, or Future Man, whatever he decides that day is his name. He arrives.
Yeah, Dirk.
As he's like, I'm gonna finally kill Tomorrow Man. And he arrives and he disintegrates his father's corpse. But even in death, his father is still invulnerable, so he disintegrates just the coffin. So it's just his dad's sort of like fucked up corpse, and the head sort of falls off. They had sewn it back on, and it just sort of falls on the ground, and the head pops off again.
Wouldn't it be so funny if like there's thousands of people? Because I'm imagining this is very much an homage to the death of Superman, like Superman funeral thing.
Yeah.
So we have B.B. Jones in the front, because he was a huge Tomorrow Man fan. Like, he's in the front, he's weeping uncontrollably, right? And of course, we cast J.K. Simmons, because, whatever. Weeping uncontrollably. Like, there's a whole, like, group of people singing. There's a choir, right? People are giving these impassioned speeches and all this stuff. The mayor's there. And then, Dr. Future, Tomorrow Man, whatever, bursts in, and he's like, finally, I'll have my revenge! And he blasts the thing with his disintegrator laser, and the coffin disappears, the pedestal the coffin's on disappears, and all of Tomorrow Man's clothes disappear. So just this headless, naked body rolls out and, like, flops in front of, like, a bunch of nuns, and a bunch of people start crying and pass out and throw up, Be great. And he's like, I'm really sorry, everybody. I thought that was gonna work.
Well, see, he doesn't apologize. This happens, right? And this happens while Tomorrow Boy is on stage giving the eulogy. And he just sort of like, they just start arguing. And he's like, Tomorrow Boy is like, you realize he's dead, and we're like all like mourning him right now, and you just destroyed his coffin. And Dirk's like, but I was gonna kill Tomorrow Man. And he's, no, you're just a fucking idiot. Like, he's already dead. You're not doing anything. He's like, oh, huh. And this is where we get, like, the sad, depressed Dirk leaving, and he starts drinking heavily in his apartment since his arch enemy is dead. So he has, like, no purpose in life. His whole life was built around killing Tomorrow Man, and he didn't even get to do that. He couldn't even kill his corpse.
He failed.
So he's just super fucking sad, and like, he's eating like 16-week-old pizza, and he's like falling over on the ground. He's got like bottles everywhere and whiskey and all this crap. He's living a sad life.
Maybe he lives in like a hollowed out science experiment, Like, he built a gigantic robot to kill Tomorrow Man, and, it didn't work, obviously, and now Tomorrow Man's dead, and he just lives inside the chest cavity of this iron giant style robot that's just like in the middle of the harbor, because that's where it got stuck. And he's just like, I can't leave here. Deliveroo doesn't deliver here,
Only one pizza company somehow gets there.
Yeah, and it's gross. And he's like, this pizza sucks. I'll take 3 more. I don't feel like going outside today.
His room is just covered in Tomorrow Man posters.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He's got action figures and all the stuff.
And so, while he's mourning, Kara and Dick are starting to spend more time together. And, Tomorrow Boy, Dick, he's finding out that their relationship won't really progress until this story has some closure, because Kara is so absorbed in, like, every time they hang out, they're only talking about who killed Tomorrow Man. He's like, all right, I need to, if I want to, try to develop a relationship
with this chick, I need to
get some I need to give the whole world some closure on this Tomorrow Man thing. So he was kind of okay with just letting everybody sort of, be confused as to what happened. But now that it's sort of affecting his personal life, he's like, okay, I've got to, this is like the final straw. I got to do something about this. So the episode ends with an epic battle between Tomorrow Boy and the Victimizer, where Tomorrow Boy at the end throws him in the sun. At this epic final battle, it's the same exact thing in the beginning, like this WWE kind of style fight. Not as epic, but because it's clear Tomorrow Boy is just trying to simulate his dad, kind of. He wants people to see him like, he's got the Tomorrow Man suit on this time as well. So like everyone sees him sort of taking up the mantle of his dad. And it ends with him throwing Victimizer into the sun. And as it goes into the sun, we see like the skin of it peel off, and it's just a robot. And we cut back to like a high-rise building where Hector is with a controller, and it loses signal. It's like, all right, that's done.
All right, cool.
So it's clear that this was all just a cover-up. They're like, all right, we need to make this robot and pretend like it was the thing that had killed Tomorrow Man. You know, it didn't actually go into the sun the first time, and now Tomorrow Boy is killing the thing that killed his dad. And, Tomorrow Boy is now taking his father's mantle, which reinvigorates the team and stabilizes them. And as we leave the episode, we see that it also reinvigorates Dirk, who sees Tomorrow Man again. He's excited, and he starts, like, pasting over Tomorrow Boy's face over all the Tomorrow Man posters. He's like, I've got a new Tomorrow Man. I've got something. That's his big moment.
He's got to laugh. Yeah.
So that is
starts feverishly building
the Kingdom of
and...
Dirty Needles. That's my superhero drug show.
I like it. Obviously, it's just the pilot, and there's plenty more adventures for these wacky and wonderful characters to get into. But I think it's fun. I think it's a fun middle ground between Invincible and The Boys. You know? Because the thing about The Boys is that none of the superheroes actually help anyone ever, right? They're all terrible fucking people.
Yeah.
And Invincible is basically just a regular superhero universe, but with more blood.
Yeah.
And I like that the superheroes in this universe, right, they are not great people, right? They're drug addicts. You know, they've got lots of issues, but they aren't just monsters 24/7 constantly trying to hurt people and fuck other people over, you know?
They're like, there are villains, there are heroes. They're trying to do, they're trying to do good, but they're, they got lots of issues.
Deeply flawed people, which is fun. It sounds a lot to me like, have you ever read The Brat Pack?
I have not.
The Brat Pack is a 1990s comic written and drawn by Rick Veitch, whatever, however you spell it, say it. It's a very good book, and it is basically like we're taking very surface level, obvious parodies of, these famous comic book characters and, delving into the idea of sidekicks and stuff like that, but it kind of is giving a little bit of a tonal similarity between this show. And I like that, because I like the Brat Pack. Read it if you want, and listen to the show, if you please.
I forgot to mention that in that scene where, like, Tomorrow Man's corpse is not destroyed in the disintegrator ray, so it's still invincible even in death, we'll see Archaon in the crowd, like, taking that down as a note. Like, okay. And then in a future episode, we would have Archaon taking the corpse of Tomorrow Man and, like, draping his dead skin over armor. I was gonna say he can be invincible.
Yeah, he would make he'd make a suit out of Tomorrow Man. Yeah, that'd be fucked. That's fucked up and gross and weird in all the best ways. I like that a lot. Weird,
it would be like Tomorrow Man's flesh over Achilles' armor. It would be just like this most horrific thing, and we'd have to. We'd have an epic fight, and he'd be wiping out all the heroes, and the only one that would beat him is, Hector would be battling him, and he'd, like, in the classic, like Pedro Pascal in the Game of Thrones, in the Battle with the Mountain, like, he's, like, just sort of stabbing the little chinks of the armor where there is an opening, and, like, dancing around all the other blows.
That leads to a great image, right? Because I'm imagining he's got a helmet on that you can lower the faceplate. Yeah. Right? Like the guy in Gladiator. And just like the new Tomorrow Man, so Tomorrow Boy steps up, ready to fight, and Archon, like, lowers his faceplate, and on the faceplate is his father's face.
Oh my god.
And it's like, oh my god, this is gonna be gross and fucked up. Yeah, it's awesome. I love that. That's awesome. Yeah. I like the show. I will be.
Speaking of Hector, though, because he's in that fight, he should definitely be played by Pedro Pascal.
Yes, give Pedro Pascal gives such big. I've been alive for 20 centuries. I saw the fall of Rome.
I could totally see him playing Hector in like a Trojan War movie. So You could definitely play this Hector.
I saw the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, you know. I was there when they built the Great Wall of China. I've seen it all, done it all, and I'm fucking Green Arrow. I'm assuming he's got Green Arrow style, like a little goofy facial hair.
Yeah,
but that was just
a
my
little mustache and a little beard or something.
Yeah, a little mustache.
Finally, he's a well-combed man.
Yeah, he could pull it off for sure.
Not a ragged fellow. This Hector Prios. He's a
no, or this Pedro Pascal. Not ragged fellows at all. But thank you everyone for listening to the. Oh, who are we? Before I wrap it up, who are we in the show?
Oh, I also need to give you your title for your next show, don't I?
Oh yes, you do. Oh my God, I was wrapping up so much earlier than I should have.
We could play. I think we should play the news broadcasters, the two anchors.
I was gonna say, wouldn't it be fun if we played like two WWE like commentators?
Yeah.
But we ostensibly work for the news, but our whole job is covering superhero fights and be like, oh, Tomorrowland goes back for the rear naked leg choke. Oh,
that's such a good idea. There should be like a sports center
chair.
For like superhero battles. It's like greatest superhero battle of the week. We've got the epic fight between Dynamo and the Viper. Like, oh my God, what a battle! Look at this kill move. Oh, what a fight! What a fight!
Yeah, exactly. All right, that's our characters, and we're obviously like more, nefarious. We know about Tomorrowman's deal that he has with the U.S. government, where he kills all other superpowered individuals. We're complicit in it because we're bad. We're bad guys. All right, what's my title? I want to know.
Your title.
I need to start thinking of an idea.
A number between. You have three options: 1, 2, or 3.
All right. 3.
Shadow in the sun.
Shadow in the sun. I have thought about maybe using a previously written pitch idea for that'll be episode 214, right?
Yep.
All right. I was thinking about using a previously written pitch idea for a title, but the pitch idea I came up with this week would not work at all for that title, so I'll have to come up with something else.
Well.
But do you want to hear the pitch idea I had? I haven't written any story or anything. It was just this idea, right? It was it was this like stoner, like lazy burnout loser whose family was really rich, but he's squandered all that wealth. And the only rich person amenity he has is a personal assistant. Because I just love the idea of a guy whose entire schedule is just laying around smoking weed and like jerking off, but he has a personal assistant who like is checking in on him and making sure all of his appointments are ready. But
I mean, you could do that if he's like the delinquent son. He's the shadow.
Yeah.
In the sun.
Yeah. Shadow in the sun. Well, I was gonna do something space because that's also I've been doing a lot of like Earth-based like dramas and mysteries and stuff, and I want to do something in space with like lasers and stuff.
Lasers.
So
we love a good laser.
We'll do that. We love a good laser. But thank you everyone for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles. Along with me has always been my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, gunner, navigator, orator, and podcasting associate. If you like what you heard here and you want to hear more, please give us a like, a follow, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog, tell your cat. You can check us out on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. And we will see you next week with a brand new televisual series for you to all imagine and enjoy.